Okay, so 2020 election comes around, provincial election,
Yeah.
and you have an all-candidates meeting, and
It was a Zoom meeting.
a Zoom meeting, okay.
The first one was here
Okay.
and at co-work, and the next one was on Zoom. It was a Rotary meeting. Before the meeting, the communications head from caucus called me and said, Laurie, the media are after you. They're out to get you, just so you know that. So be very careful in what you say. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Famous last words.
Yeah.
And the all candidates meeting went well. The final question came up, and it was sort of a throwaway question, and it was, how do you feel about the reproductive, or about the free contraception for low-income women? And I gave an answer. I said, everybody gave their answer. They were all in favor of it. And I said, I have no problem with contraception ethically. And it's just not a priority for us because there are just so many other health needs. And then I had to add something because I had been visited by Access BC sometime earlier, and they were advocating for free contraception. And they gave to me a research paper. And that research paper, it's really an advocacy piece. It's not really a research paper. But it gave us its first reason for contraception, that it would save the government money. Because the children, the difficult children that would come from those low-income women would cost the state a lot, and you would save that. And the yield would be greater, the greater the problem children they had. And I thought, you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like poor women should not have children.
Yeah.
And that really went against me. And I wasn't prepared for the question. We had no talking points from head office about it. And I just said what I really thought, which was that this has a whiff of eugenics to it. The idea that poor women should not have children, that was the whole eugenics movement in the early part of last century, and it was a leftist thing. And I said, it just smacks to me a bit of that.
Yeah.
And as soon as I said those words, I knew I had made a big mistake.
You knew instantly.
And the Zoom clicked off, and I just laid my head down on the desk and moaned because I thought, I'm done. Unless,
but it's not something that your statement is something you would say again. You still believe that.
It doesn't matter if it's true in politics. It matters, is this the time? Is this the place? Is this the way to say it?
Okay.
And as a professional, I'd been a politician for 7 years and worked for politicians for 9 to 20 years. I should have known better than to say it at that time, in that way, in that place.
So how should you have said it, or when should you have said it?
I should not have said it at all, but just found a different way, maybe a speech in the House or something, and to frame it and to think carefully about it before I would frame it. And, but it popped out. And, when you look at an election nationally or provincially, there's always a candidate kicked out for some reason for saying something stupid. And I was the one. Politicians say stupid things sometimes, and I said an ill-timed remark that whether it's true or not really doesn't matter.
But it's really reflective of the culture, though, that we live in. That a statement like that, which used to be a very liberal thing.
Any small L liberal should agree with that.
Yeah, that this is, because I don't know a lot about the issue and stuff like that, but it sounds like it's exactly what it is. I mean, that you're, it's in a way that, I don't know if they think about it that way, but it's the government's way of getting rid of all these tax dollars.
Future costs. And, they would say, no, we just want to expand choices for lower income women. And that was their line. And how can I fight against that, motivation? So anyway, I thought that maybe since Kelly Padden, the current MLA, was a brand new candidate, that she might not pick up on that.
Yeah.
I thought maybe, and so I said nothing to anybody. And the next day, there's nothing throughout the morning. I thought, maybe it's gone.
Yeah.
And suddenly I got a call from our communications guy in Victoria, and he had a few choice words for me. And then he said, Laurie, just get out of town. So I took my campaign manager, and we were going to go and knock on doors in Harrison Mills. And on the way, I got a call on my Bluetooth from Andrew. Laurie, pull over immediately. So I pulled over, and he said, Laurie, we've had a good relationship, but I have to ask you to resign immediately as a candidate for the BC Liberal Party. And I said, I'm sorry, Andrew. I didn't blame him. The media would have been all over him, and he said, I have to go now into a forest of hostile reporters and try and make some,
sense of this.
Yeah, and the great one of the great sadnesses of it is that I had so many friends in the BC Liberal Party, the caucus, and suddenly they were all completely cut off. They can't have anything more to do with me. And I don't want to have anything more to do with them and sully their name by, associating with them in any way. I couldn't even be seen to have coffee with anybody.
Yeah.
So I haven't spoken to Andrew since, and we were good friends. And I think that's...
But he's out of politics now, isn't he?
No, he's still an MLA.
Oh, he's still an MLA.
Yeah.
He's just not the leader anymore.
He's just not the leader.
Okay.
So anyway, I felt then that, as an independent, I thought for a couple of days about it and then decided, okay, and that's when I received...
You were pretty quiet for a couple of days
Yes,
online
I was shocked and I didn't know what to do. But, I consulted with friends, close friends, and they said, Laurie, you should go for it and tell people that you're going for it. So I did. We raised a bunch of money the next week. We changed all of our signs. We mounted whatever we could. I mean, I was cut off from the BC Liberal website immediately so that I didn't have access to my voters or lists or, money or anything.
Yeah.
I was completely cut off. So I couldn't run, the campaign I would have liked to in the last week. And I lost by 1,300 votes. And I think people would have voted for me, but they thought since he's left the party, there is an alternative in Jason Lum to vote for because he's a young entrepreneur and he's very popular. And I think that made the day. Independents don't win. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah.